Welcome to the Olympic edizione of the Penalty Loopy podcast, where we talk about all races and everything around the biathlon competizione from the 2026 Olympics in Antholz, Italy. Grazie for listening, and if you enjoy the podcasting, leave us a 5 stars or a like on your podcasting platform, or send us a message on social media. Ciao, everybody.
Dzień dobry, Rajna, which is a horrible pronunciation of a very good morning to you in Polish.
Aha!
Especially for, of course, Tobias, the girls on his team who had an incredible race, and the people in Poland who must be pretty excited about their biathlon team.
Every other biathlon podcast, I imagine, is going to lead with some other story. But no, we are the home of Polish biathlon. And so we're going to talk about the team who set their own record for best performance by the women's relay team at the Winter Olympics.
Man, and I don't know. Yeah, we'll talk about France, and we'll talk about Sweden, and we'll talk about Norway and Germany and everybody. But that, to me, like we have mentioned that they had a good chance and that they seem to be in a really good position with, 3 girls getting in placement or in the starting list for the mass start and everything. So clearly something is working, but then also to pull it off, like he said, at the Olympics. I couldn't be more thrilled for Tobias and his team, what they accomplished today. And
Absolutely.
If we want to also mention other things that, are not like your top teams that you kind of expected where they ended. Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Swiss had a really good race. Latvia, Baiba Bendika and Volva, they came in the lead. Can you believe that? 2 legs in.
Leading the relay. When she put in that move, I was fortunate. She sent me a message real quick, just as we started recording. She said that she just couldn't help herself. She had to go for it. And I'm glad she did, man. That is a moment that I'll remember forever.
I think she literally cannot do it else in another way. She's kind of Emile Jacquelin on the women's side, right?
Yeah. And she powered, man. It was so cool. We obviously are biased in her favor. We have spoken with her a number of times. You think about everything she's gone through the last couple of years, and there she was leading the relay. She was in first place at the exchange. And it's so cool for somebody who is, I think, probably for her finishes, she's probably fairly well known, just because of the things she's done on social media, and she's pretty, but I'm so happy for her. That, and how about the Belgians fielding their first women's relay team at the Olympics ever?
Yeah.
And Lotte Lee starts out with a great run, and then Maya Klutens, she was awesome. I think they exchanged at the halfway point in 5th position, so you would never know it was their first go around at the Olympics.
Yeah, a following group, Maya, and with all due respect, but it wouldn't surprise you if the likes of, Sweden or Norway would pass her. But nope, she was leading the pack, and I think people were happy to stay behind her. So,
yes, it was.
Yeah, boy, oh boy, what a race.
They had Bulgaria.
Finland, 7th.
Bulgaria
12th.
Was up there for like halfway through the 3rd leg. They were still in the mix. Yeah. Suvi had a nice close, but Finland was battling in there. It was actually, when you look back at the midway point of the race, it was still pretty close. Even going into the last leg, I think I sent you a message that, or maybe I posted this, but like from 2nd to 11th was something like 30 seconds. And that's a lot of teams that had a chance to find their way onto the podium and write some cool stories.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Yeah, I think I would say of the teams who probably look back on this race as wanting to forget fairly quickly is probably Italy. Who, we kind of knew that it was a lineup that could go both ways, with two really strong and two awesome but not quite as strong athletes. That didn't work out. They came in 11th today, and then I think Austria probably, weren't having super high hopes because the results so far haven't been so that they would expect a really amazing race. But of course, they still have the quality to do it if everything works out. And today, obviously, unfortunately, didn't work out. So they came in 15. And then personally, I was very disappointed for the Canadian team. I had really high hopes. And, they've been doing so well, these championships. And unfortunately, didn't work out today. Pascal, unfortunately, had a penalty loop on the first lap and then, or on the prone shooting. And Benita was the third leg and had a penalty loop in the standing and then got lapped. So, yeah, it's really unfortunate that it just didn't work out today. And I feel bad for Nadia Moser, who was the fourth leg, wasn't able to compete, but that's life of biathlon. On a more positive note, US also didn't have the race they were hoping for. They were, at some point I saw, I think it was Margie Fried, who was leaving the shooting range when France came in, but she was still able to to keep them in. Well, anyway, I don't recall exactly who it was, but I was worried they were going to lap two because they weren't that far from Canada, but they managed to finish the race, and probably helped by Julia Simon not having to really push very hard in that final lap. I don't know how close it got. I also think we've seen that before, where people that are leading by a lot maybe don't push as hard if they see that there's a team that could finish their race if they, don't blow by them. I don't know if that was the case today, but
whether it was or not, I mean, the U.S. hung on by their fingernails, and it was probably not the day they were dreaming of, but they got out there and they raced, right? And you know that each of them, just like the Canadians, just like everybody out there, they put it out there, and sometimes you have it and sometimes you don't. And that was just one of those days.
And the conditions were very different. So maybe we've really praised the Wax team, and they may have done a very good job again today. Well, they always do a good job. It's just the result sometimes is unpredictable with waxing. That's just part of their life, I guess. But maybe today didn't work out quite as well. But maybe it just wasn't happening today. But still, kudos to all the athletes. Just realizing you're at the freaking Olympics. Like, that's amazing as it is. So fortunately, the result wasn't there today. Were you at some point after the first lap thinking France might be in trouble?
No. And honestly, the reason why was because the gap never got too big. And that was always what, we always knew that they had Lou and Michelin and Simon coming up next. I think they got a lot of help considering that Sweden gave themselves a penalty lap and Germany did and eventually Czechia did. So, they got some help, but they didn't need it. I mean, they just like Jacqueline and on the men's relay yesterday, although Lou wasn't quite as dramatic, going from 50 seconds back to the lead in a single loop, but she just had an immense leg, and I would say she was not going up against her peers in terms of form, but that's not entirely true because, Anna Magnusson, Doro Virer, and Franziska Preuss were on her same leg. She had the best leg time on leg 2 by 26.8 seconds over Polina or Batovska-Fialkova. He beat Magnusson by 1 minute and 18 seconds, Virer by 1 minute and 24. She beat Preuss by 1 minute 36, Gondler by 1 minute and 41. I mean, Juni Arneklevi had a great leg and finished 46 seconds back. Camilla Zook has to be feeling pretty good considering she was within 43 seconds of Jean Monod. I mean, that was just she just blew everybody off the course. And then, of course, you had Michelon, who has had a good few days. She came in and did the exact same thing on leg 3. Michelon won her leg by 24.3 seconds over Elvira, 27.7 over Vobornikova, was 32 seconds back. Hetik Vault 36, Meyer 40. So, I mean, those middle 2 legs were just
because I'm looking at her ski time. She was 20 seconds faster than Elvira.
Unbelievable. Yeah, those two just blasted.
She was the only one where I felt if, in addition to Benet's race, if Michelin would have, buckled under the pressure, then they could be in a little bit of trouble, depending on what all the others were doing, of course. It wasn't a concern.
No, and I just look at this. So Jean Monod, she handed off to Michelin basically in the lead. They were 1.6 seconds back. By the time she came in for her first shoot, Michelin had built her advantage to 16 seconds. After the shoot, she is now 28 seconds up. By the time she comes for her standing shoot, she is 47 seconds in the lead. And then she exchanges with a 47-second advantage over Sweden and Norway. And just, those 2 women were absolutely sensational. Simone she didn't have to do anything. She could, I think they said on the American broadcast that the closest competitor to Simone was the drone, which is totally true. That was it. It was Simone and the drone out front.
Yeah. And she beat the drone even.
She beat the drone. It was, and we talked about it in the past, that sometimes Simone with the lead, sometimes that's her biggest enemy, but didn't matter today. She was not letting this gold medal go. And how about that celebration? You had Michelin, she was crying.
I had a really hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's and you keep laughing because I always say bonnet, botte, botte.
Yeah.
I know that if you have them side by side, you can clearly tell they're easily to tell apart. But when you see them just kind of a camera flies by or something, I find it hard to distinguish. There's something about Michelin and Bonete. Pick one. There's just this raw emotion. And I get the sense with Michelin that she's really trying to, keep it together, which of course there's no need to, but, and then she can't anyway. And I just loved it how my God, Bonete, Benet, how she basically almost killed Simon by jumping in her arms. I mean, Simon probably wasn't as tired as she could have been. But I just love that. And then later on, as they were getting ready for the medal ceremony, I would assume her mom, Benet's mom, was in the stand or somebody was very close to her. And they just had such a wonderful moment to like, you almost don't want to look because it's so personal, but at the same time, they shove a camera right in there. So you might as well enjoy it. But, it just, I love this raw emotion and also, just not just with them, just any of those athletes that just realized that they had the Olympics and they had such a good result.
You might not be able to see it, but
there's still
I'm literally tearing up over here thinking about it. So that's how I feel about it. And I think you look back to Benet, how she was after the individual missing that last shot, and she's devastated. And then she has the penalty loop today, and like you could see a situation where she would just be down on herself, but she was over the moon, and she was so happy. In that moment you talked about with her, the woman who I assume was her mom. I think that you and I can probably both look at it from both our both perspectives, but as a that's her mom, right? And all she wanted, she just like buried her head in her mom's neck, and like just like that's such a classic kid thing to do. And it was like her mom was clearly or again, the woman I'm assuming was her mom was so happy, and you can think about it from her perspective, like she just saw her daughter do this amazing thing, like she's an Olympic gold medalist, and that's something that lives forever. And it just, you could see, this team, they've won so many times, like sort of getting used to it. And it's so wonderful to see them that excited. I was very, again, I'm obviously tearing up about it. So it's clearly it got to me.
Yeah. Well, and I it's not hard to imagine that, especially when your team wins and you're the one who had the penalty loop, that there's like even an additional relief, because there's always that worry that, oh, did I lose it for the team? Right. And then, I mean, it was pretty clear after 3 legs that it would be okay. But
I wish, and I'm sure this is out there somewhere, I wish that there was a camera on the team after Benet's leg, because I would have liked to have watched how, obviously Lou was out there, but I would have liked to have watched how the team kind of rallied around her, because you could see at one point later in the race where Lou had her arm around Benet, and it was just sort of like almost like a big sister, like, hey, we got you, like, you know what, like, we got you, it's fine, we got this. And it was just like, it just makes you love Lou even more, like, if that's even possible, that she kind of takes on that role, because she's still she's relatively young herself. I mean, this is her first Olympics, but still.
Yeah, it was. So I don't know, because it's not necessarily closer, but for some reason it seems that the women are still allowing themselves to be more emotional than the men. Although we've seen a lot of awesome vibes through it on the men's competition, but so many, like, there are so many personal good and bad stories on this. Like, I was really worried if Juni Arneklevi would have a good or a bad day. Obviously, she did really well. I felt really bad for Preutz, who, less than a year ago was claiming the overall, and just not having it. I don't know if she's sick or if it's more of a mental issue. Generally, she just seems tired, both physically and mentally. It seemed like Suvi had a bit of an off day.
Did she? I wasn't.
And well, off day in the sense that I think I thought she would put up more of a battle with Sidorovic.
Well, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But
no.
I think that was decided.
Suvi's inner Finnish niceness. She knew that was so important for Poland today. She wanted them to have it. So that was what happened.
But it's just so interesting how I feel that emotional experience where I'm like, oh, Suvi, what's going on? And at the same time, you have this, oh my God, Poland is getting sixth. Because I think when they left the shooting, I think 5, 6, and 7 were fairly close with the what was it? Czech Republic, I think, was ahead a little bit. But I was like, well, Sidorovic is a really good skier, but I mean, Minkinen is at her top. I would think she might be faster. But then I think when they came in the stadium, there was, I don't know what the final difference was, but well over 10 seconds, I think.
It was 14 seconds.
Yeah,
I mean, clearly
or so.
You can look at the splits, and Sufi was right on top of Sidorovic for most of the lap, and then just at the last split, just their way. I don't know if she got tired or what, but yeah.
Well, I remember where was that race where she led after the last shooting and then kind of blew up? Was earlier in the season.
I know what you're talking about, and I can't remember.
It might have been a pursuit.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I can't place it.
I wonder if that was Hochfilzen. But anyway, so yeah, maybe, altitude catching up with her, or maybe pushed too hard in the first leg or loop. But anyway, Finland in 7th is still pretty exciting result for them, and maybe if everybody has their peak performance, there's more in it. But I think in the end they can be pretty proud of themselves for a 7th position.
Absolutely, right? I mean, yeah, and you look at the Czech squad. We talked about Davidova, obviously not racing today, so instead of her being in the anchor leg, you have Teresa Vinklerkova, who did have a penalty loop, but I thought she handled herself very well today. It's a lot of pressure, and she still brought the team home in 5th.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that was pretty awesome. I mean, the entire team, you had Yaslova, who got them off to a very good start in leg 1. She hasn't had the greatest season, but I thought, she definitely kept them in the mix. Travadova, who has been a better shooter this year, but at any time, I mean, that's sort of been the Achilles heel of their relay in the past. She avoided the penalty loop. Vobonikova, who I thought really, I mean, she went sort of head to head with, she was right there a little bit behind Shikaida and Hanna Oberg, but she definitely looked like she belonged up there. And so you think, in a different world where they've got a healthy Davidova, the Davidova who, won the race at the beginning of last season. And I mean, they could have been right there in the mix for a medal. I mean, obviously that's total wild speculation, but I'm very proud of them today.
No, I was going to say there was 5 athletes who shot clean without spares. To no one's surprise, really. Loteli was one of them. Ristova from Bulgaria was another. Safok, also not a surprise, who actually shot really fast for her. I think she had 23 and 20 seconds, if I recall correctly. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely faster than what we've seen in other races. Elvira shot clean, and Julia Simon shot clean.
That's interesting.
My heart's crying a little bit for Vogt.
Well, because was the individual she finished in 4th?
And 4 years ago she had a 4th.
Yeah.
And now she has a 4th in the relay. Man, it's just, which is really, at some point in her life she'll be like, hey man, I was at the Olympics twice already with 3 4th places.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Which, globally speaking, is really freaking awesome. But right now,
yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, that's.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were going to talk about Sweden.
Yeah, I'm happy for them. This Olympics didn't start off in the most positive manner, but now the 3 last races, they had Ponceloma's gold. And you can actually, I mean, you had Ponceloma's gold, you had all of the women in the pursuit moving up very nicely. And then you have the men getting the bronze yesterday, the women getting the silver today. Well, there's still not, I'm sure, where they would have liked to have been, but they're getting to celebrate. And it's nice to see it. This is why they brought Lynn Jesblom along the entire season, and it was specifically, I would imagine, for this moment, right? That she would be healthy and able to do this today, to exchange in first place. Magnussen, she had the penalty loop, but I thought she managed it very well. She actually, it was not as disastrous as it could have been. Elvira still doesn't really look like Elvira. I know she doesn't like altitude, but handled it well. And Hanna Oberg, perfect anchor leg for her, right? She going up against Shirkaida. I mean, that's nobody's idea of a good time. And she came out on top. It's really nice silver medal. And to be fair to Sweden,
looking at the,
I don't think anyone was challenging France today, even with the penalty loop. Like they were just on another level. But sorry, you were looking at something.
I'm looking at Elvira. Elvira's time. I was curious about Elvira's time. She has a third course time behind, 20 seconds behind Michelin and 3 seconds behind Hattie Quelz, which, definitely tells you that her skiing form is still not where we would expect it to be. I don't see a ski time for the fourth leg, but it says here the loop time is still the fastest Julia Simon, which really surprised me considering that she probably didn't really push very hard in the third loop of the fourth leg, right?
I have the course time for you if you want it. Shirkaida was the top course time on the last leg, and then Hanna was 8 seconds back, Polona Klemencic 9 seconds, and Simon was 14 seconds. And that's even with a relatively pedestrian final lap because she got to, say hey to everybody and grab the flag and do all
that. And again, here I want to shout out to Vogt as well. There's been a lot of talk about her shooting time, and she was only 10 seconds behind Julia Simon, who we know is in a league of her own. Vitozzi is very close to Simon. She was 3.2 seconds slower than Simon, and then Suvi Minkinen plus 7.9, and then Vogt 10 seconds slower than Simon, which is really, quite incredible for someone who has a reputation of being very, very slow with their shooting. So she definitely, I don't know if it's a matter of knowing that she has the spares or if it's just a, specific tactic they send her out with. But clearly she can do it, and hopefully she can, gain the confidence that she can do it in any race.
Well, and that's the thing that makes that individual so weird. I shouldn't say so weird because it's not. It is more like her normal. But recently she had some races where she shot more quickly. And so it stood out a little bit more. But if you look, like her total shooting time was 48.
But it makes sense though.
Total shooting time was 48.8 seconds. That would have been second fastest of leg 3. It would have been fastest of leg 2, and it would have been second fastest of leg 1. You were saying it makes sense because it's an individual, you were going to say?
Well, in the individual, because the penalties is like the whole minute. It is basically 2 penalty loops, right? So to me, it makes sense that you play really safe. If she can start shooting like that in the individual without misses, then
look out.
That would obviously be.
Norway, we talked about them yesterday, substituting in Juni Arneklevi, and paid off. She had a great leg. You mentioned her earlier, and you got to say they're probably pretty happy bringing home a medal for the first time in 12 years since the Sochi Olympics. I think it's the last time the Norwegian women had a relay medal.
Well, and I think she had the 5th time behind incredible Lou, then Batoska Fialkova second, also very good. We didn't mention the Slovakians, but they had a very good race too.
They did.
Baiba obviously had a really good leg. Camilla Zook we already talked about, and then Juni Arneklevi just same time actually as Maya Klutens.
Mm-hmm.
So really, really good leg. And then Caroline Knotten.
Yes.
32 seconds behind Michelin in her loop. So also a very good performance.
She did. Yeah. and she kept them right there. Got really, I mean, you can sum up the entire Norwegian relay plan is just to get Shirkaida in position, and they all did it, right?
Yeah.
Johansson did her job. Juni did her job. Noten, she was battling with Elvira at that point, and Vabonikova, and puts Shirkaida in third, right there behind Hana, and obviously Shirkaida finished in third. So I think that this is a success. I know we talked about Poland right off the bat.
Were you able to connect with Tobias?
Oh. Not yet. I sent him a message. So we're back on Poland. You can tell there's a mind meld here. I'm just looking at their legs. So Camilla Zuk, and this is what's stood out. She had the fourth best leg 2. Yakiela, seventh best leg 3. Sidorovic, the sixth best leg 4. And those 3 are going to be in the mass start on Saturday. And I'm really excited. I'm not sitting here predicting medals for them, but like, it'd be really fun to see them finish like 8th, 10th, and 11th or something like that.
Well, mass start, it's crazy things can happen, right? And I apologize for the background noise. We have some construction.
You should be able to edit that out. I think
going on in our house, so
yeah, should be able to edit that out.
They're pretty much right below my office here. So,
let's see. There was somebody else I wanted to mention too. I just gotta.
I did want to say, like, we've been talking about how Tandervold has been sort of the big sis of the Norwegian team, and it must have been really tough for her. I saw her after the race, big hugs with Lou and Julia Simon, and I didn't necessarily see, but I got the impression that it was quite emotional for Tandervold for obvious reasons, and probably very mixed about getting a bronze for the team, but then not being part of the team for been a long time that she was a part of that team. So at the same time, so happy to see her with a big smile on her face, how she's so supportive of her team, but also with many other athletes. And
oh my gosh, yeah.
I just really hope that, that she can sort of take the positives out of the rest of the season, and hopefully we're going to see her back in the new season more like we have seen her before, where she can challenge for the top of the overall standings.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say something, and I don't want anyone to think I'm talking about any athlete in particular. I just mean this in general. But sometimes you see star athletes who are having bad performances, and they just sort of withdraw. They don't want to interact with anybody. They're just like, whatever. I'm not doing well. I'm disappointed. But here was Tangervold, like, she's taken off bibs for different girls. She's handing out water. Like, she is like suddenly like the world's greatest, the cheerleader. And she's always that way. Like, don't get me wrong. But again, in a moment that is clearly so disappointing, not everybody will respond that way. It just makes you more of a fan of hers.
Yeah, I mean, nobody would be surprised if she was kind of back in the corner, and on the one hand happy for the team, but kind of more focusing on how sad she was not to participate. But she seems to be like a tremendous support for the team in any way she can.
Yes.
I did want to mention also on the German team, I mentioned Vogts already, but Julia Tannheimer, first Olympics, still very young, leading the pack twice up that steeper hill when they come out of the forest, shooting, only 2 spares on the standing shooting, where the shooting is typically not her strong suit. So, oh man, kudos to any 20-year-old, but she, coming from Germany, has probably even extra pressure on being the new Neuner or Dahlmeier, and to put it together this race. I was really happy to see that. And also Hetty Waltz, she's been a bit of a roller coaster, being out of the team for a while and then coming back and now being the third leg on a relay and 4 spares, no penalty loops, and she was skiing quite well. And, folk we talked about. And unfortunately, the one where, if you combine shooting and skiing was probably your most solid pick on the German team normally. And unfortunately, Preutz is going through a bit of a standing shooting crisis right now. And it's probably the only reason why they're off the podium, to be honest. But I mean, she also put that team on a podium many times. So that's just part of the relay.
Yeah, totally. Also, in the same vein as Preutz, just want to quickly, I feel for Veer. I can't imagine the way that she thought about her last relay going. She had the penalty loop and
sorry, who was that?
Doro Veer.
Okay, yeah.
She had the penalty loop on
yeah.
leg 2, and I'm sad. One more opportunity to see her race, and I hope it's a glorious one.
Yeah, I mean, there's about 30 athletes that I really wish to be on the podium in the last mass start, but for Vogt to actually get that medal and for Veer to shine one more time in her own backyard, that would be super exciting. It's so many cool stories, right? I was just listening to the German broadcast again today, and they were saying that so Hannah Augenthaler, whose dad we've talked to, is a coach of the U.S. team, and then apparently her grandfather was one of the people who actually built the current stadium in Antholz. Now,
gosh,
I don't know exactly. Built meant like bricks and mortar, or I guess wood and nails, but or if he was more part of the group that organized it. I don't know what his role was exactly, but that must be quite the experience. Maybe for her, it's just another stadium, but I don't know. These stories are pretty cool. And that's definitely, I like that I don't know if it was a tough decision. I'm guessing not, but that they just use an existing stadium rather than what you see sometimes where they build something new for the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Not always very, very good. And, having one of the best stadiums, I don't know. Remember it was the first year or two where we always asked people a couple of standard questions, and one was like, what's your favorite stadium? And I would say 80% or so was saying Antholz is the favorite place. So yeah, awesome venue and awesome story to go with that. So
absolutely, yeah. Nick, any other thoughts about the women's relay? And if not, you want to look ahead to the mass starts?
Well, yeah, I was gonna do a very shameless plug here.
Yeah,
because I find the arena is very close to my heart now too. Because I mentioned it briefly a couple times that I was working on an animation, and I finally finished it and put it on YouTube. But yeah, I did a little too much work, maybe, being a bit of a perfectionist on all the buildings and parts of the stadium to resemble as much as I could the arena in Antholz. And definitely there was a shot at some point where they followed an athlete from when they go up to the last split is it Huber Alm, I think, and then they turn left and they go under that bridge, and that drone shot they have in there is very similar to what I have in the animation. So that was pretty cool to see. It can be found on YouTube. It's called Biathlon Animation. Obviously, combination of biathlon and animation. Biathlon animation, what they see is what you get. And I think, without wanting to tap myself on the shoulder too much, it gives a pretty unique perspective from what athletes see, and probably also a pretty cool view of the arena. So again, biathlon animation, what they see is what you get on YouTube, and any feedback would be really appreciated. I know it's not perfect, but I tried my best.
You may have noticed in the art for the podcasts that there has been sort of an animated background to most of them. And RJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been pulling that from your animation, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So it gives you a little bit of a preview. I've gotten to see it. I've gotten to see it in all the different stages. So it's been kind of fun. It's you will enjoy it. It will remind you of sort of what they're going for with those drone shots. I mean, that's exactly what they're trying to give you. And this is that. It's what does it look like? You get a nice little overview, sort of like a helicopter overview. You get the coming into the stadium. You get the firing. I can't imagine how much time this took. I was telling you before that just me personally, you give me a blank page, and that's kind of my it's kind of my worst nightmare. I'm fortunate that in my job, I never have to do that. There's always some information, some stimuli coming to me, and I get to work off of that. Starting from blank is just not something that I relish. So I'm very impressed because of the end result. I'm even more impressed because of where it started and all of the work that goes into it. So I think that you guys will enjoy it. RJ already shared the link. We will post it in the show notes. I will put it on social media. Don't worry. We will make sure that you get the chance to see this. I think it's really cool. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's funny because when you said how you find it hard to start with that blank page, my problem is to keep it to one blank page that gets filled up. Because this actually started with, like, I have a whole part of Canmore that I built, I guess, and then decided to go to Antholt. So, it's. I think I mentioned that to you. Sometimes I say I suffer from perfectionism rather than being a perfectionist, because it's I don't feel bad for me, or that's not what what my intention is here. But if you have that, can be a positive ability to see the minor details and room for improvement. But sometimes I wish I would have just said, this is good enough, because, like you said, it's probably a bit more time than it should have taken. But at the same time, I just love these challenges. I said my original plan was to, what would it look like to shoot from the perspective of an athlete? And it kind of turned into a helicopter view of the Antholt Biathlon Arena, and much more than that. Now, the positive is, because I put a lot of things in it, that I sincerely hope in the next couple of months I can add some videos of other shots, and maybe flyby over the course and that kind of thing, because it's all there anyway. So, and learned a lot. It's about a year ago that I started downloading Blender, and now it's something that I'm getting somewhat comfortable with. So,
and now it's taking over your life.
Long enough me babbling on about my own work. But,
every time I text you, I feel like you're working on that thing.
It probably was.
Yeah. 2 more races left at these Olympics, so that means
starts
a couple more chances for you guys to hear the amazing Italian jingle that leads off our podcast every episode. Another RJ special.
Yeah, we should we put a post up if we go back to the Austrian version, or keep this on a little longer,
keep the
or
Italian one?
eventually come up with a new one?
Yeah, we'll have to make a new one for every weekend now.
Oh, don't say that.
Any sentimental favorites for the podium for the mass start? We got the men on Friday, the women on Saturday.
Mentioned, Vogt for beating or finally getting the medal rather than fourth. Lou, obviously, a gold medal would be, I think, what she deserves. But I mean, like I said, there's a lot of athletes who deserve a medal, and Veer would be, the dream story. Simon being back at the shape she is, it's hard to imagine her not being really close in contention. Yeah, so many. Obviously, I wish the best for Canadians, but podium might be not very realistic. I don't know anybody else who. Sidorovic would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking. Sidorovic would be amazing.
The best option.
Camilla Zook would be amazing. Obviously, Baiba is going to be racing. I think that'd be great to see her have a fantastic run. And Debesh, the Danish biathlete, is going to be in it, so that would be a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun chatting about and chatting with Leah Meyer this year, so hoping that she has a good race. Camille, I would really like to see her, bounce back strong and have a 20 for 20 and just say, hey, look, I am the best shooter. And then, of course, me and Suvi, just a race where she goes 20 for 20 and just hangs on. Obviously, I don't think her skiing is where she would like it to be, but she showed she can do it in the pursuit. That'd be a great day. On the men's side, I think Tommaso Giacomel would be a really nice one. He got that silver to start the games. It'd be nice for him to go out on top. Samuelson, Pero, yeah, especially after collapsing after the relay. Johannes Dallas-Gebdal. Obviously Campbell Wright,
Sturla.
Yeah, because you never know what he's going to say.
Yeah, Sturla is missing the gold.
Oh, Nick Hartweg. There's one I would love to see. I'd love to see Nick Hartweg.
Yeah. Philip Horn having some German success.
Mm-hmm.
So many. Seba.
So I think we've got about
finish it all off with
12 men and 12 women that we want to see on the podium. So they're just going to have to make some more room.
Yeah.
And it's a world first. We have a 5-way tie for first and a 4-way tie for second and a 4-way tie for third. It's amazing. They just crammed him in there.
Yeah. I think they should just start measuring results in sections of 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody within 5 seconds, they win.
And to get the same spot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
When is that? That's the 21st. Or is that No.
Men are on Friday. Women are on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
And yep.
Right.
8:15 Eastern Time, 6:15 Mountain Time. Could be worse.
Doable.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Crazy. That's the final 2 races.
I know. And then we have to wait another, 1,400 days or so until 2030.
Well,
start working on your French. Your French. It's the French Alps. They haven't said officially, but I have a hard time imagining it won't be at Annecy, considering the venue already exists. But maybe they'll go somewhere else. Who knows?
It's kind of surprising that it's so close to Italy. Like, usually they try to, even go to different continents every year, but or every event. But
I think I read that it's the first time that they've ever had back-to-back Olympics, period, at least in the last like however many on the same continent. So yeah, it's surprising. I think that
was this officially the Chamonix?
No, it is officially just French Alps, and it doesn't have a name yet. I know that Nice, I believe, is going to host some things. That might be where they do the opening and closing ceremonies as well, but it's going to be a little bit of a
Nice,
a little bit of a mix.
That's on the on the south
on the coast, on the Riviera. Yep, I would imagine they're going to have the figure skating down there, maybe some of the speed skating. You don't think of it as a winter wonderland? You know, the place that everyone goes in the winter to escape the cold.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's nice in Nice, but it's definitely not one of the winter areas that I would think of. I thought I read somewhere that Chamonix, because they had it in like 1678 or something in Chamonix, one of the first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which like eons ago. What I remember of some footage that I've seen from that is I believe that's where the bobsled track was still handmade at the time.
Oh, fun!
It's just unbelievable.
If you actually in all seriousness,
trips down that thing.
If you look it up right now, there's something called mountain luge, I think is what it's called, where it's just a luge track that's just carved out of the mountain, basically, and it's like real ice and all that, and yeah, so they're still doing it, still out there.
I remember, oh man, I was probably like 14 or something, and we were in Austria on a holiday, and then we had this company who organized basically a sledding tour. Rodon. So they drive you up to a restaurant halfway up the mountain, and then you have your dinner and stuff, and then they give you these little sleds, and you slide down the second road.
Cool. Yeah,
just for fun, right? Yeah. And it was cool. So 2 people on the sled. So my buddy and I were like, we're going to do this again. So we ski the next day. We go back home, get our sled, take the last ski lift, and we're like, we're just going to walk to the halfway point or maybe sled a little bit. Well, almost died about 4 times on the top half to some point that we both fell off at like crazy high speeds, and the sled was hanging in a tree somewhere, literally.
Oh my gosh.
And then we got to the place where we ate, and then we realized that they had put gravel on that road.
No.
So we couldn't go down. I must say, I don't recall if we ended up sledding all the way down or if we walked down that road. I honestly don't remember anymore, but it was quite the adventure. But complete sidetrack here. But
thank goodness you're still here.
Just popped a memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy, but good fun.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Go.
Chat on Friday.
We will chat on Friday.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes. Take care. Bye.
Take care.